We've been waiting so long, the season's finally here. Soak it up and cheer, cause T-Wolves Talk is here. No need to fear, the wait is now gone. So farewell so long, cause T-Wolves Talk is on. Yeah, T-Wolves Talk is on.
I will absolutely be a fan of bass holes now.
All right, Timberwolves fans, welcome back to this edition of Timberwolves Talk with Peyton and Chris here. It's been about 2 weeks, I think, since the last one.
No
It might
way.
be, man. It might be.
That's all right. It doesn't matter as long as we're here.
We stuck a live stream in there. I mean, we were putting out content. One thing per week, I think, is bare minimum that we've been doing. But no, we always say we can't really promise you guys anything. We can't make promises anymore.
Consistency is not key with us.
No, it's been a good past 2 weeks of Timberwolves basketball. We had the 6-game win streak in there. Couldn't make it to 7 games. I think there's some stat where we're like one of the only teams who hasn't had a 7-game win streak for years. We also are undefeated at home since the new year.
7-0, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, only team in the NBA to do that. That's pretty impressive. And we snuck in some really good wins within this big winning streak of 14-5 or something like that, 15-5. We won the Nets game, we won a Nuggets game, we won a Warriors game. I'm trying to think of some more. Kings. I mean, yeah, we snuck out some good games. And even the lower opponents, we had some tough games. I mean, we only beat the Blazers by 2, but we found a way to win. We only beat the Hornets by, we had to beat the Hornets in overtime. Had to find a tough way to win that game. And I know there's a couple more in the back of my head too, but it's been, morale is up, 4 games above 500. What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, you're talking about the morale. I think talking point, obviously, we should talk about is we didn't make a trade at the deadline. And I think the morale would be completely different if we would have traded away one of our players. I don't know if it was the right move or not, but we wanted to keep the morale up. And that's exactly what we did. And it carried over into these games after the deadline. I was at the Hornets game last night, and man, that place was fun. And D'Lo, all credit to DAngelo Russell. Some people might not like him for those comments, but I stand completely behind him with those. And, I love having a player challenge the team. And what did he do? He bought 250 tickets, lower level. And what did we do? We all stood up until that first basket. And it did take a while. It did take a while for them to get that first basket. It was like,
I was going to ask, I feel like, because I didn't get to watch the first part of the game, so I heard it took a little bit of time, but that's kind of just to be expected when you implement something like this. Your first time doing it, the crowd's going to be standing for a little bit. It's just how it works.
Yeah, and I think if I'm not mistaken, it was DAngelo Russell who hit the 3, so we could sit down. So it was fitting. I mean, he's getting the crowd going. Pat Bev loved it. He's a lunatic when you watch him in person. It's ridiculous the stuff he does.
That's another thing we got to address too is the contract. We can get to all that later, it did seem like a hype game.
It was awesome. Playoff atmosphere.
Everything was great. Did the PA announcer did he make any announcements stand until you're?
Yep. They had they had graphics going on the big screen, everything, and we were way up in the nosebleeds, but we still stood. Stood. Yeah,
that's good to hear. So you addressed it earlier, but the trade deadline. Honestly, I was kind of expecting us to make one move.
You were.
Yeah, I was expecting either 1 or 2 minor moves. I didn't think we were gonna do anything major at all. But yeah, there was a lot of rumors circulating around the Timberwolves at the deadline.
As there usually is.
The Marcus Smart one was the biggest one. The Josh Richardson, Aaron Nesmith. There's a few names that are floating around. But yeah, we didn't do anything. We stood pat. We kept the chemistry. That's kind of what Finch and Sachin said. They wanted to keep the chemistry together of this group, and I think it makes sense. But yeah, there's one really. I think there's a question that all Timberwolves fans are thinking in the back of your head that I wanted to ask you is not trading Malik gonna bite us in the behind in the playoffs or the rest of the season?
It very well could, but you're talking to Malik Beasley's favorite fan. So what I would like to say is I think it might be the best move we ever made. And I can sit there last night and watch him play one of the worst basketball games I've ever seen and still say, I believe in this guy. I think that what Chris Finch did last night is exactly how you handle Malik Beasley. If he goes in, misses 5 shots in a row, and he's just not hitting it, you just take him out for the rest of the game. And I think everyone should be okay with that. Malik Beasley, if you miss 5 open threes in a row, you're done. And you can't complain about that because you're on the team to make threes. But if he makes that first 3, it's a whole different story. He's making 4 or 5 or even 6 that game. So it just depends what version of Malik Beasley we get in the playoffs. And his lack of defensive ability, really, it could come back to bite us.
Yeah, the thing that I have trouble with Malik this year, and I've said it before, is he was one of our most consistent players. Like, he'd always get his no matter what. He didn't always have the craziest games, but he was just always getting us, good consistent points. And it seems like this year, it's like it's either 18 points on 5 of 6 threes or bust. And I'd rather him just go out there and get 9 points for us, hit a couple threes, miss a few. I mean, we need some consistent production from him. It can't just be hit or miss every single game. And I think that's the biggest issue, obviously, fans of Malik have, and, fans of the Timberwolves, is we've seen him be a third scorer on this team, before Ant even came. And I don't know, man. Hopefully regular season Malik gets ditched and we get playoff Malik, and playoff Malik's a whole entire person. And that happens for some players. So I think it has a ring to it. Playoff Malik, and maybe post All-Star break Malik. Maybe he just needs this week just to get out of town with the family and just enjoy some time away from the game. And just, sometimes that's all you need. What was I gonna say? Taurean Prince. He's another player that when he's on, he's fantastic. And I was telling my uncle this, who I was at the game with last night, because in the first half, right when that bench lineup came in, they were horrible. We had a pretty good lead. Maybe a 10-point lead, and the bench lineup came in, gave up that whole lead. And it's kind of hit or miss with the bench. If they're making threes, if Taurean Prince, Malik, Naz are all hitting threes, then we have one of the best benches in the NBA. But if they're missing threes, we have one of the worst benches. Our bench is not good when they're not making shots, and that can really be a liability when we don't have a single starter out there. So we need to find consistency, not just with Malik Beasley, also with Taurean Prince, Naz Reid. All these guys got to start being more consistent if we really want to have a shot at this like we think we do. Yeah, like you were saying, that little stretch of games where they scored like 68 points off the bench, 53, 57. Like, it was like a 3-game stretch. I'm like, this looks like this bench lineup. The bench lineup was outplaying starting lineups.
And it was more fun to watch them than the starters, I thought, because they just how well they play together. They're all they have the greatest ball movement, and they are so unselfish. They will always make the extra pass, and sometimes to a fault. There's times when they will make an extra pass when they had a wide open shot. But the bench unit, I think, is our Achilles heel, and it also is what could elevate us to maybe go for a run in the playoffs if our bench is clicking, especially with your guy, who you might owe an apology to right now, J Mac. What do you got to say about that, Chris?
Yeah, J Mac's had a really good stretch of basketball. I think the game where I kind of realized like how good he was playing was the 12-12 game. He was passing the ball so well. Playing defense actually was a big thing for him too, and just making the easy shots, making the open threes, making the layups. Obviously there's still holes in J-Mac's game. Some of them that he can't control, like he's 6 feet tall or 5'11", one of the two. He's not the best defender. So, I mean, I like to trade off his passing for maybe a little bit worse defense. You could kind of see, last night with LaMelo getting matched up on him on switches with Jaden. It was pretty tough for McLaughlin to hold him. But no, I thought he's been playing really well. I think he solidified himself actually as the second unit guard. And that other guard spot on the second unit is still kind of open for interpretation, which I thought was interesting. It seems like Finch has been valuing Malik over Nowell actually of late. I wanted to hear what you had to think about that too, but we saw Nowell for that stretch where he was getting 14 points a game, 50 and 20. And he really broke out when everyone had COVID, and that's how he kind of earned his spot. And it's kind of diminished over the last 2 weeks.
Yep. I think Finch has got to figure out what to do in that situation. Because last night at the game, he was going with Malik. Malik wasn't hitting the shots. So when the second half came around, instead of subbing in Malik, he subbed in Nowell. Now, I think when Malik Beasley's on, I would argue that he is more valuable to have on the court than Jalen Nowell. When he's that knockdown shooter shooting 5 for 6 from the three, I'd rather have him out there. So I think because he had a pretty great stretch there, and I think Finch kind of was like, all right, like I want Malik Beasley to get his confidence back. I want him to keep playing well like this, so I'm going to let him run, and maybe Jalen Nowell's not going to get as much clock. So I don't know. I really like having Jalen Nowell out there, especially with the bench unit when the shots aren't falling. I think that he's just a great shot creator because none of those guys really can make their own shot. And Jalen Nowell, it doesn't matter who is guarding him, he can get a shot off.
No, I agreed. 100% agreed. I think the dilemma that Finch has, like I really do think this is what he's thinking, is we have a lot of backup guards and they all do pretty different things. Like you have so when Pat, Bev, and D'Lo, sub out when they're out of the game, it's who do we put on that floor, after them? And as of late, it's been McLaughlin and Malik. And I think the reasoning for that over Nowell, because I think a Nowell Beasley backcourt at this point is just, they both cannot play defense. They both are very, very bad defenders. And in this league, point guards are going to eat you up if you cannot defend. They're going to either get easy layups or pass right out of it to an open shooter. You got to be able to stay in front of these guards nowadays. And those two both cannot play defense. And the other thing those two cannot do is pass the ball very well. And, when I think Jordan McLaughlin might not be better than those two players, overall, he can do the things that point guards need to do to facilitate an offense.
And especially when the guys around him are hitting threes, it really makes him look a lot better. I don't know. I think I've always liked the idea of having Nowell play that backup point guard position. I think that he could really thrive there, but you're right. His defense is a liability. And was he hurt? Was he hurt there for a little bit? Did he have was there a few games where he was battling with something? I feel like that.
I thought so.
Might have been the case.
Something.
So that might have played a role in it, but I don't know, man. I love the bench when they're hitting their shots, especially Taurean Prince. He's become one of my favorite players. He's got one of the prettiest jump shots I've ever seen, and when that thing's going in, and he just starts like doing post fadeaways and stuff, you're like, wow, this guy might be worth being the fourth highest paid player on the team. But
yeah,
sometimes
he's been great. He has. I mean, you hit on it. The 3-point shot has been, when it's fallen, it looks great. Looks like a great bench move. And I think the thing that he really provides too is that defense. I think when Torian's always going to play defense, but when he's hitting the threes, he's that 40%, 3-point shooter that's going to get you 8 points, and he's going to defend. That's the guy we wanted from Brooklyn.
For sure, man. So another point I want to bring up tonight, Wolves play Toronto, as I should say. It's not Toronto, as we learned in 8th grade. But so I don't know if this will be out until tomorrow morning. But what I'm hoping for, Anthony Edwards questionable. I really think that it would be wise to sit him out of the game tonight. And I know it'd be great for publicity and stuff. I hope we sit him out of the Rising Stars Challenge as well. I want to get your take on that and see what you got to say.
Yeah, I agree. If it, I think it's a right ankle sprain is what he got whatever happened.
Yeah, but he's got the knees too. He's got the knees. He's been battling those knees.
The left something tendon. Yeah, I don't know what the heck is wrong. There's a lot of drama surrounding him with the knee injuries. He had D'Lo saying he's fine, and then Ant's not telling people how he's feeling. And I just watched an episode of Track the Pack, actually, a new one that came out, and it was like 3 weeks ago, and he was complaining about his knees on the bench. So, I mean, this has been going on for a long time now. Just get him a week of rest. That's all we need. We don't need him to play tonight. A guy who I really want to see, if Anthony Edwards doesn't play tonight is Jaden McDaniels, because he's been borderline the team MVP with Cat and Ant the past few days and weeks. Jaden McDaniels he's been playing his best basketball of his career. Last night,
he had a putback dunk that was allegedly a goaltending. I wish Finch would have challenged it.
Man. He got up.
It was right in front of my face, and that was incredible. That he was making some great players, pointing at his brother on the bench. Like it was awesome.
He smiled last night.
He was having fun, man. It's family business over there. His whole family's there. Like that was awesome. And I couldn't even just imagine, dude. Imagine having 2 of your kids. What are they? 1 year apart.
Mhm.
both in the league. Like that's
That's awesome, man.
insane. Insane.
He's been great, man. He's been so fun to watch. We both cast our doubts at the beginning of the season, like when he wasn't, replicating his second half of the last season. But we did say to wait on him. He's a developmental player, and he's playing the best basketball of his career by far.
And he's still missing some corner threes, which I would like to see him hit more consistently. But yeah, he's been playing great, dude. My uncle, who he doesn't follow the Wolves very like in depthly, but he's a big basketball fan. He said he reminds him a lot of a young Scottie Pippen. And I've heard that
before.
I've heard that before, but I think what was so like eye-opening with him saying that is I don't think he follows the NBA. Like I don't think he's heard that. I think that was just his raw judgment of him is maybe he plays like a young Scottie Pippen. So my answer is we got to find a young Mike for him.
That's right, man.
We might have one. We might.
He
just has too much hair.
That's right. Back to Anthony. I know you were saying about I think we should sit him out. And then I mean he can get healthy this next week and a half or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, man. He's one of the most like knock on wood, but he up to this point he has been very durable. Almost like unbelievably durable. The only time he's sat out was COVID, right? Has he even sat out with an injury yet?
I don't believe so. I think he played every single game last year, and then up to this point, I think COVID, maybe like one night or two, but
maybe. But yeah, you gotta rest him. You gotta give him. You see all these other stars around the league getting their random sitting, so like I think it just makes a lot of sense coming off the second end of a back to back. Just rest him. If we win this game, great. If we don't win this game, not the end of the world. We're gonna be okay. But yeah, I think it'll be a great game tonight against Toronto.
So here's a question to pose though: is if there's another injury replacement and Anthony Edwards gets selected, like
you got to play.
You got to play. You got to play in your All-Star game.
Yeah, so that's
you got to go there. Maybe you don't have to play that many minutes, but you have to go.
Yeah. I think he should go to the Rising Stars Challenge. I just don't think he should play. Especially he's like, is LaMelo in the Rising Stars?
Yeah.
He shouldn't play. Like when you're like a borderline all-star, you should not be in the Rising Stars because you are a star. You know what I'm saying?
I'm excited to see Jaden play in that. I might watch that game just to watch Jaden.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's more of a game tailored towards players like Jaden, like rising stars, not players that are. Mic cut out there. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, my mic cut out. But I think it's for players that are, as the name says, rising into stardom, just like Jaden McDaniels. I don't think Anthony Edwards needs to play in that game.
No, probably not. Probably not. I guess touching on another piece of news is we mentioned the Patrick Beverley $13 million extension. I saw a lot of people saying he got overpaid. I don't know what you think of that.
Well, yeah. So I saw our guy Dane. I think he basically was saying Pat wanted a 3-year, $11 million deal per year. And we didn't want to bet like we're not going to pay an old vet like that much money, like that long term of a deal. So it was kind of like, all right, I'll sign a smaller deal. I'll sign a short term deal, but it's going to be for more money. And I think he's worth every penny of that, even if he doesn't play a single game next year. Just having him around and just like showing that we support that really sends a message to this team. And that's kind of what it's all about at this point, especially after not doing the trade deadline thing. So I'm all for it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's good to sign the 1-year deal too, because it provides much needed cap flexibility for the next year. Just a 1-year deal. He's just going to be on the books for 1 year, and you can make the decision that year if you want to keep him around for another year. I mean, that's just kind of how it works. The second year of Ant and Jaden's contracts. So after this year's up, the team's going to accept the 2-year team contract. And then, we're looking in about 2 years. That's when they're going to be eligible for extensions. I'm assuming Ant, depending on if he makes that All-Star game or not, I mean, he's going to be making $30 million a year, probably about a 5-year, 150 something. If he makes an All-NBA team within that period, it could go up to like 5-year, $200 million,
which I would pay him.
Which I'd pay him. And I think Jaden McDaniels is going to need a sizable contract as well, probably around the 14, 15 million mark. Yeah, I mean, that's when Malik's going to be off, and then Pat Bev will just go year to year. So I think it's a smart move.
Yeah, the future is looking real bright, man. And I can't say this enough. I love that. And Gupta, like them saying that they wanted to keep the chemistry alive and all this, that's what someone who tried to get deals done that no deals got done, maybe that's what they would say. And that's also what Finch would say. So I don't know how much I buy that, but I love the idea of it. And I love that that's what they're pushing to the public. I think it's just a great message, because this is exactly what me and you have been saying, is we want to let this team grow, let them build from the bottom up. And that's exactly what we're doing.
I think Gerson probably would have made a trade. If I would have to bet on it. I think Gerson might have, and maybe that shows some maturity of Sachin to, if it's not the perfect deal, don't pull the trigger.
Yeah, the player that I just have the most questions about is Josh Okogie. He confused me. He sometimes he plays a good amount and he plays well, and then sometimes he's on the bench like he's Jake Layman. And I do think that it's really important that we kept him around, because when the playoffs come, he's going to be such a valuable defender to put on the other team's best player that I think it'll be completely worth it to have him around just for that.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him in the playoffs if he does get a shot.
I think he will. I would bet that if we get to the playoffs and we're going up against a team with a guard that's heavy scorer, I think you put Okogie on him. He's our best defender.
I would bet a lot of my money. I would probably say 99% that he will not be on the team next year. I don't think we're going to re-sign him, but yeah, I mean, you got to utilize him this playoff run. And maybe this playoff run could boost his stock. Maybe he could get a contract, but I don't think he's going to want a minimum contract from the T-Wolves. I think he might go bet on himself somewhere else, but we'll have to see. I don't think Okogie will be a Timberwolf next year, but I don't know.
Hey, that's okay. That's okay, man. Carl, man, we usually don't talk about Carl much on these podcasts, because I think we just honestly forget about him. Most Wolves fans forget about him. He's just been so consistent over the years. But last night, man, he took over, and when that shot's falling, he is insane, because he has one of the best pump fakes in the league. The big centers don't know how to guard him out top, and it's incredible what he can do.
Yeah, it was. I mean, he just does all this every single game. He's always going to be the rock on offense. He's always going to be super consistent. Good shooting numbers. It was upsetting me last night that he wasn't getting the last two possessions that DAngelo Russell got. After hitting two giant threes. I don't know whose decision that was, but it was the wrong decision. I don't think we would have went to overtime if Cat would have touched the ball in the last two.
Yeah, that last shot that DAngelo Russell had, it was horrible. And it was just a horrible possession, especially on a tie game. You don't need a three.
No.
I would rather have DAngelo Russell drive to the paint and try to get fouled than throw up that horrible three. So I don't know. I feel like we should have at least had a play, because it was honestly just DAngelo Russell dribble around a little bit and chuck up a three. We had 11 seconds. We could have ran a full play and not even have had to go to overtime.
That's right.
So I don't know. But DAngelo Russell, Chris, he is the clutch guy. Like, that's his role, is when there's 10 seconds left in the game, it's his shot. So I do get why they would go DAngelo Russell instead of Cat.
I think you just got to play the hot hand there, man.
Yeah. Well, no,
I don't know.
I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying
Yeah.
I understand why DAngelo Russell gets that shot, because time and time again, he's proven that that's his shot. And he, he's had the interesting fan moments. But I really actually think he's handled it well. That whole exchange with Jim Pete, I think they both handled it very maturely. And DAngelo Russell giving us the game ball last night, I think that was awesome. You usually don't have players interacting with fans like that. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Man. That's right, man. You got the game ball last night.
I did. And the Target Center, man, everyone was going crazy. It was the loudest arena I've ever been. I've been to maybe the two best games of the season so far.
You have the Heat and the Hornets game,
but I also have been to a few of the worst games of the season so far. So I guess it's trade-offs. I went to the Magic game and the Pelicans game early. So
I haven't got to any good games yet this year. I got the Pelicans and the Thunder, and we won the Thunder game, I guess, but it was a pretty brutal game.
Yeah, man. So if we get to this play-in game or a playoff game, how much are you willing to spend on a ticket to get in there? If we get, so say we get the 7th seed, we play the 8th seed at home. Say Friday night, you can get a bus back or drive back here, go to the game. How much are you willing to spend on that?
I think tickets will be around like for the upper deck. I mean, I'd probably spend $100 on an upper deck one. I mean, I think both me and you both want to go to the game no matter what, but I think we can find some for 100. We just got to get them before they sell out. It's a big
thing. I don't know. See that it's such a I don't know if they're gonna sell out or if it's gonna be like they're gonna be trying to give them away because I don't know. It's hard to tell, really.
Yeah, it is.
I think if it's a 4-game series, I don't know if they're gonna sell out if we I don't know. I guess I'm underestimating the Timberwolves fans, but I couldn't see them being over 100 for upper deck seats. But no. I'll be there. I'll be there, no doubt about that. I was diving into the Bass Hole archives a couple days ago, and I saw we had a video on Io Desayumo, and it turned out to be a pretty solid video. But I rewatched it, and I think I might have had one of the weirdest takes I've ever heard. I said that Io Desayumo reminded me of Russell Westbrook without the athleticism.
Yeah, it's a little interesting. I would say Io's been pretty efficient. He's a good passer.
He's a great defender. And you just went with the easy way out. You went with what all the analysts are saying. You said DeJounte Murray, which I think is a great comparison.
Yeah.
But I was just trying to think way outside the box, and I don't know. I don't agree with it as much anymore.
Yeah, Russell has been a story this year. Actually, the teams we were worried about at the beginning of the season for the 7th or 10s were the Lakers. Actually, no, we weren't worried about the Lakers really because they were going to be the
1 seed,
1 through 4. Yeah, I mean, what a turn of events for this Lakers team, man. And
they're going to be okay.
You think so?
Yes, it's the Lakers.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see. That's a team that's a very plausible playing. If we get the 7, they get passed up at the 10. That'd be a tough. I mean, that
would be a horrible draw. That'd be a horrible draw. LeBron. If we had to play it, but that could be the passing of the torch right there. If Anthony Edwards takes down LeBron in the playing game, that could be the start of the pass of the torch from goat to goat. What do you think about the James Harden, Ben Simmons trade? I think we should maybe touch on that, obviously.
I mean, I think
who won it? Who won it?
I can't say who won it yet because there's complications to the trade. I mean, I think if the Nets knew they had to trade Harden, then they got a lot for what they had. They were forced to give him up if he didn't want to be there. I mean, you got 2 firsts, Seth, Andre, and Ben, who, I mean, the Nets were on an 11-game losing streak. In the first game, Seth and Drummond play. They beat, I think, the Kings by 20. So, I mean, the Nets got better for sure. The Nets got 2 really good role players, 2 firsts, and they got Ben Simmons, who's, I think he's going to fit well with KD and Kyrie. But I think the other side too is the Sixers got a really an MVP candidate, not this year, but I think he's just a perennial MVP candidate. It all depends on what Harden you're getting though. It really does. And what if Harden just leaves this offseason? Because he has a player option.
That's what I'm saying, man. I just I don't know. You get 2 players who just both force their ways out of organizations. Harden did it twice, back to back. So what's saying that he's not going to like it in Philly and just force his way out of there too? And I thought that the extension was part. I thought that was part of the deal, is that he was going to re-sign an extension. I don't know if that was confirmed or not, but I don't know. You were the one who got me hyped up on Ben Simmons, and I'm all in on that. I think he has the makings to be one of the best players in the league, man. And with that fit, and you're telling me you're giving Ben Simmons and you're giving him KD and Kyrie to pass to, and he can play that 5 ball, which most people say that is where he plays best, is when he plays the 5. And when he's on the court with Joel Embiid, it doesn't work. But you put him out there with those 2 guys, man, that like no one. Why I don't get why people are underestimating how scary. I think they might be better with Ben Simmons than they ever were with Harden.
Very well could be, man. I think people are underestimating the 2 firsts and the 5th best 3-point shooter by percentage of all time. I mean, the Nets issue was the role players. They barely had any role players, and they got an awesome starting shooting guard in Seth, and they got a big that can come off the bench that's been playing unreal this year for the Sixers, by the way. And you know, the Sixers got Millsap, who I don't think is going to contribute that much.
He's an all-time Timberwolves guy that we always think we're gonna get.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. I've never been high on Harden. I think he's just he's not the type of guy I want on my team. And I think Ben Simmons has, he's locked up for a while. Yeah, I Kyrie and I think KD are both guys that can play off the ball really well. So I mean, Ben's gonna play well there.
I think Ben Simmons really got the short end of the stick by the media and all that. I think he really got portrayed as a bad guy here, when he's obviously the fault for some of this, but I think he really got pushed as this like horrible teammate and all that. So I don't know. I'm really excited to see if he stayed in shape, if all this, and he can make an impact. Why didn't he play first game back when Seth and Drummond played?
I think he's still revamping up because he didn't play one game for the Sixers. So I think he's reconditioning, and actually his target date is the next game against the Sixers after the break, I think. So that could be fun. That could be really fun. Going to Philly too. New rival,
like that's like the new. That's gonna be crazy if they match up in the playoffs, man.
I think you had a point. You did have a point on Ben Simmons getting the short end of the stick though, because we're in the age of players being able just to force their way out of any situation. So why does Harden not get any crap? Why does LeBron not get any crap?
Harden did the same shit, man.
Why is it Ben Simmons that gets all the hate?
When people forget, he was the guy who his head coach bashed him in front of, right at the end of the. He had one really bad series, and that was
bad game. One bad game.
One really bad play. Honestly, that one play is what did all this. And he shot horribly from the free throw line, but he was having one of his best seasons, was he not?
I think people just forget he's 25 years old. He's a 3-time All-Star and an All-NBA. He's made the 3rd team All-NBA and a Defensive Player of the Year candidate every single year.
You were the one who got me this hype on this guy. That's why, but if he had a jump shot, man, he would be in conversation for one of the best players in the league. It wouldn't even be a question. Maybe the best player in the league.
I hope this whole time he's been working on his 3 and he just comes out and starts spraying in the first game.
Well, what if it's all a plot? What about maybe 2 years ago when we saw those videos of him making threes in the practice videos, him draining threes
pre-game too.
Yeah, maybe that was real. And these last 2 years, he's been trying to get his way out of Philly quietly, not making threes, not taking threes. And what if he's just got a strap? Him and KD and Kyrie, they've all been talking about this. And now he's a shooter. Put him on that team. Instant championship.
I think the thing that's got to be mentioned too is what's Philadelphia's shooting coach doing? I mean, Ben Simmons is one case, but you look at the other guy, Markelle Fultz, who comes out of Washington, an amazing 3-point shooter, mind you, and a really good free throw shooter. And he comes to the NBA and he's just broke. He just can't shoot.
But he goes to Orlando and he kind of gets fixed.
Yeah, he had a good couple before he tore his ACL last year. He was averaging 18 a game.
Yeah, he was 6 man. Was that this year that he tore his ACL?
I thought it was last year, and he's still he's still coming back.
Okay, that's good then, because I always loved Markelle. I was high on him. I thought he should have been the number 1 pick when he got picked number 1. I always was like, what happened to this guy? But I don't know, man. I like this drama that the NBA is stirring up. It seems real. It's not this fake stuff that they're just trying to make up. I think the Embiid Simmons thing is legit, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I hope
it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be fun. Yeah, we covered a lot today.
I think so. I think we covered everything we need to. We got to talk about a little NBA stuff. I don't know if there's much more to talk about. I hope Ant goes off, or I hope Jaden goes off. I hope Cat wins 3-point contest. I don't know. It'll be a nice break. I guess it's not really a break for us because we just been taking breaks every 2 weeks, but
Break for the Wolves.
break for the Wolves. Yeah, maybe I don't know. We got to do a live stream here soon when we get back. Right when we get back, those are a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone, thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week. And Chris, we'll see you later, man.
We'll see ya.